So cool. Don't know if we're down here, so maybe this is it.
Alright.
Thank you.
Wyatt, have some rolling.
Great, thank you.
What's wrong? You ready to have everything you need?
Yeah, yep. Great, thank you.
I'll enjoy.
Okay, so I never actually explained what we're doing today. We've come to the Hollywood like Walk of Fame thing, and I'm holding my camera down because we're sitting in a restaurant and I don't want people to stare at me. But yeah, we came to Hollywood Walk of Fame and like the, what's it called? Chinese theatre. And saw the handprints and like the stars on the floor. Meryl Streep's handprints and feet. Tim Burton.
And topless.
I'll be back.
For the 10:15 tours, please start making.
Oh my god, look at the size of his feet. Harry Potter. La La Land. Marilyn Monroe. Casual Scientology building. We've just come to a restaurant and today in the afternoon we have our Warner Brothers tour, so yeah, just come to the pizza place and the slices of pizza are freaking huge. Like, this is my hand and this is the pizza. Yay! We've come to Urban Outfitters and how cool is this bed? The bed is up there and the desk sub is underneath. Right, wait, why is my ear so red? That's a bit concerning. Anyway, we're back now. I couldn't actually film in the Hollywood. No, it wasn't even Hollywood. I couldn't film in the Warner Bros. Set tour thing because apparently you weren't allowed to film, even though you could take photos. I don't really understand why, but yeah. I'll insert all of the photos right now, and I might do a thing where I talk through it so you guys know what it all is, otherwise it doesn't really make sense. We saw all the PLL like houses and the clock tower and all that kind of stuff, and a bunch of other stuff from so many films, and it was so cool. And then we went to the shop. I bought a couple of things which I'll probably show you guys in like a haul on my main channel when I get back to England. And then yeah, we were there for quite a few hours and then we basically just Ubered home and we've just kind of been sitting around ever since. So when we first got there, we went on a little like golf buggy thing with about like 10 people in it, and then we drove around the car park, looked at the Warner Brothers like water tower thing, which they use the water to film like shots in the sea and stuff like that, and then we went on a little tour around the set where there's like a bunch of different buildings like of the town and where loads of different movies are shot. This is where the Spider-Man like upside down kiss was. This little lodge has been used for loads of films and it's been used in PLL as well. We then saw a bunch of the town houses, so these have been used in PLL and Gilmore Girls. We saw Emily's house, we saw Spencer's house, we saw Mona's house, and yeah, these houses have been used so many times in so many different programs, but they just make them look different. And then this was Spencer's house out the front, and then out the back where they have like the barn, so that was really cool. And then they also showed us all the insides of the houses and stuff, and they explained how they never put any doorknobs on because they changed them in like every single film and TV show. And then we looked around the little town area, which was like the center bit, and this has also been used in PLL, Gilmore Girls, so many different shows and films. So this is the Rosewood like clock tower thing. If you want to see pictures of me like outside of these like buildings and stuff, then head over to my Instagram, which is just sophdoesnails. But yeah, it was so cool just like exploring the little village. We got to get off and have a look around and take pictures with stuff, and yeah, it was just so weird how they use the same town and the same set for so many different TV programs and films, like I didn't even realize. And so this was the little cafe from La La Land, which isn't a real cafe, that was also a set on the Warner Brothers set. And then they had the PLL bakery, and this was Radley Sanitarium, which is also I think the hotel in Gilmore Girls as well. And then they showed us part of the park area which they used to film in Friends, and then we stopped off at this little building which had a bunch of the Harry Potter kind of props and stuff, and and a bunch of props from a bunch of different films. I just said bunch so many times. And they had a load of costumes, which was really cool. They had Dobby's little sculpture thing, they had maps, they had the wands. So if you're a big Harry Potter fan, I imagine it's kind of similar to the Harry Potter studios. But it was pretty cool to look at it all and see the different like figures and little props and things, the golden snitch. So yeah, I actually found that really interesting. I do like Harry Potter. I'm not like a crazy Harry Potter fan, but it was still pretty cool to look at. And they had like a bunch of other films as well, like Batman and like Superman and Wonder Woman, and yeah, just a bunch of cool costumes and posters and props and things. And then we got back on the little golf buggy and we looked at some of the studios. Or like the stages. I think they're called the sound stages, and each of the different sound stages had a different program, but we weren't allowed to take any photos in there. But it was really, really cool to see how things are filmed inside. And then we drove through this warehouse bit where they make a bunch of the walls for the programs. So we saw some of the walls that were being made for the Big Bang Theory, and they literally just slide in and out the walls that are behind them to make different rooms and stuff, which I found really crazy. And they make them all on the set. And also because it was such a big thing, they had their own like petrol station, which I found crazy because the Warner Bros studio tour, like the whole area is like a huge little town. And then we went into this really cool warehouse area where they had all of the Batmobiles, which was awesome. Again, I'm not that much into Batman, but they had all the Batmobiles. They were all lit up. Apparently they're all real cars that you can actually drive. So I took loads of pictures, mostly to show my brother because I thought he'd be really interested in that. It was pretty amazing to see them all in person, so I took a bunch of photos. I really wish we could have filmed some stuff because they just looked amazing, and you know, it was just really cool to see them in real life. So those were all of the Batmobiles that have been used in all the different films. And then we went back outside and we saw a couple of the other sound stages and they explained a bit about them. And then we went to the final bit, which had Central Perk, and it had a bunch of different scripts and props and original artwork and posters from the different films and programs that they've produced there. So that was actually really cool to see all like the original artwork for a bunch of different films. They had the little figurines from The Corpse Bride, which I absolutely love. I love like The Nightmare Before Christmas and The Corpse Bride and all the Tim Burton things. So they had those. They had a bunch of mini like figurines of different buildings and cars and just like little props that they make before they actually film the films, which I thought was really interesting as well. They had so many different costumes from so many films, so I just thought it was so awesome. They had the signed Friends things, they had the Friends Central Perk, which you could go and have your photo taken in. And then obviously my favourite bit was the Pretty Little Liars section, where they had all of the props, like things that were just, I don't know, significant. Like they had the hockey stick, they had a bunch of like different things that A had left the girls. They had Alison's diary and stuff, and their ID cards and the bracelets. And yeah, it was just really weird seeing these things in real life, but really cool as well because, as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of PLL. They had all of their costumes from the first season, like from the first episode. They had A's lair. It was all like set up with Mona's costume. Sorry, spoilers if you haven't seen PLL. And all of the photos, the creepy dolls. Ezra's book, which was really funny, and a bunch of his like writings and stuff. They had the Radley Sanitarium passes. They had the board game, which was all lit up, and it's like the actual board game that they used for filming, which was so cool. A bunch of masks. It literally goes on. There were so many different props and costumes. That's Toby's costume right there. They had the Radley Sanitarium sign. And yeah, just overall it was so interesting and so cool to see all of the Pretty Little Liars stuff. I'm so glad that they still had it there. I think it was running until the end of September, but I'm sure they will still have some Pretty Little Liars stuff there left, but this was like an ongoing exhibition thing. And yeah, again, if you want to see any of the other pictures of me like with some of the PLL stuff, then head over to my Instagram because I did upload quite a few pictures on there. And yeah, this is basically just what they had. I took way too many photos, as you can probably see, of just everything that was related to PLL. Alison's grave. There's me and Ellie in front of Alison's grave. What a lovely happy jolly picture. And the rosewood sign as well. So that was the little PLL section. It's still going apparently. And then you could get your photo taken on like a broomstick, and they had even more things from different films. They showed you how they make the different films with all the green screens and things like that. So that was also a really interesting part. And also in the end section, you could stay there for as long as you wanted. So we wandered around for quite a while, and me and Ellie actually had our photo taken behind, like in front of a green screen, and it was supposed to be some kind of Pretty Little Liars like jail photo shoot thing, but their machines were like broken, and so we couldn't see the photos for ages, and we had to queue for ages. But you know what, that's okay. So these were just a few more costumes. They also had a bunch of awards there from different films that they've created that have won awards, and then the final stage was visiting the shop. So yeah, overall it was an absolutely amazing day. It was so fun. I would highly recommend it if you are going to LA. It was probably one of the best things that we did in the holiday. So yeah, I hope you guys kind of enjoyed those photos. I'm sorry that we couldn't film in there, but they wouldn't let me. So yeah, there we go. The time is 7:48 and I think we're going to eat some food soon. But yeah, overall it's really good. I would recommend the Warner Bros. Set tour. I wouldn't so much recommend the Hollywood Walk of Fame because it was a bit of a like anticlimax, but it was still good. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed.